quarterback. They got one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the 2021 draft, and I did not see it coming, although I'm excited about it. I'm Dionne Miller from ABC7. He's Dan Wiederer from the Chicago Tribune. Dan, what were your thoughts when you heard the Bears have traded up and they were ready to make their selection?
First of all, I like your attire. You're wearing your emotions right out front for everybody.
On my sleeves and everywhere.
Your OHIO loyalty that has been there from the start. My thoughts when Justin Fields and Mac Jones were sliding and got out of the top 5, and then out of 6, 7, 8 were, now it's go time. Make your move, Ryan Pace. Do it. Make something happen. Then when you see the thing come across the bottom of your TV that the Bears have traded up to the number 11 spot with the Giants, you knew it was coming. You knew they were taking a quarterback. You figured it was going to be Justin Fields, and you thought to yourself, wow, what a gift that the chessboard unfolded in the manner that it did for an organization, a general manager, and head coach that are desperate for a quarterback. To land a quarterback of this talent level is unbelievable, and it changes everything. It changes the hope in the city. It changes the outlook for the fan base. It changes the mood drastically, as you've experienced over the last half week since this pick was made. It changed everything, and so much of that was outside of their control. And sometimes you just take the gift, you don't apologize for it, and you say, Justin, let's get to work. Let's become a star. Let's go win championships.
And not just any of these talented quarterbacks, the one they wanted, the one that clearly Matt Nagy wanted and had history of seeking him out and wanting to know more about Justin Fields and how he would fit in with what he wants to do. It was such a home run that it caught me off guard, to be totally honest with you. I mean, it's taken 7 years of Ryan Pace drafts or whatever to figure out what to try to figure out what he's thinking in these moments. And the moves he's made in the past have been head scratchers. I haven't really felt like, okay, he really got it. I felt like he was always searching for the diamond in the rough. And I feel like this was not it. They nailed it. They did what needed to happen. They worked quickly. They were aggressive when they needed to, and they got the guy they desperately need. And I truly believe he's the real deal.
And look, they didn't have to overthink this one, Dionne. I think some of the benefits of picking where they were picking was that they could let the board come to them a little bit. It was a total handicap to not have a pick up high, and you had to root for some luck to occur, which did occur. But then when it's staring at you in the face, it's just don't overthink it. The analogy I've used is that Pace and Nagy essentially saw a $100 bill laying on the sidewalk and they picked it up.
Yeah,
that's not a move of brilliance. It's there's $100. Let me grab that. They don't have to apologize for that. I'm not asking for any apologies for that. It is just pick it up. There's a $100 bill there for you. Grab it. Do what you want with it. Now we'll see how they spend it. But I'll say this. Look, we know that the Bears like to go into Ohio for their quarterbacks. They got Mitch out of Mentor, Ohio. They got Andy Dalton, previously of the Bengals, although he came from Dallas. Justin Fields is different. He's a different talent. He's got different upside. He's got different long-term potential. And while we sit here in the first week of May 2021, I can say with great confidence that there will be more signature moments from Justin Fields than there ever were from Mitch Trubisky. He will make more plays, both by design and the ones that are off script, and he's got to make something happen. He has more talent. He's faster. He's got a better arm. He throws a better deep ball. He's more accurate. That's why Chicago is feeling the euphoria it's feeling, because the talent level in this young man is so high. That's not to say it's going to work out. We can go down the list of first-round quarterbacks drafted in the last 20 years and check off all the ones that didn't become the long-term answer for the franchise that drafted them. This at least gives Chicago hope. It gives Matt Nagy a chance to prove who he is as an offensive architect and as a developer of quarterbacks.
And he understands what it's like to be a quarterback in Columbus, Ohio. I mean, Matt Nagy himself was in arena football, Buckeyes, whatever, little differences. But I think there is that connection there. I think the connection with Ryan Day was huge in this moment, too, for Nagy, because he had somebody on the inside who he trusted. And the one thing about Fields that I feel like also sets him apart is not only what he can, obviously, his talent on the field, but he is a born natural leader. I feel like the way he advocated for college football last fall, I think says a lot about the person that the Bears are getting, and a well-rounded franchise QB. I know he got a lot of criticism for not literally leaping off the couch and yelling, "Go Bears," like he got a lot of criticism for that. And I think that's not fair, because this is someone who seems rather quiet. He lives alone with his dog. He's just, that's how he's processing, but he is a motivated, competitive guy, and he is going to change the quarterback role for the Bears. He's going to be a rock star if things work out the way that we all anticipate that they will.
I'm glad you brought up his fight for the 2020 football season, because I do think it's significant to his journey in multiple ways. Number one, it shows the passion he has for playing, right? Justin Fields was so highly regarded when the rest of the college football season started a year ago that he could have said, you know what, if the Big Ten doesn't want to have a season, that's fine. I'm going to be in the draft next year. I'm going to be picked high. I'm going to be a first-round pick. I'm going to go chase my NFL dreams. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to play. He wanted his teammates to play. He wanted Ohio State football to have a memorable year. And he fought for the season. And he didn't do so with cavalier disregard for what the pandemic was and how it was going to affect football. He did so from an intelligent standpoint and from a standpoint of just bringing people along with him, right? And that's a leadership quality, as you mentioned, that's important. The second thing, Dionne, that's important to me about that is it gave Justin Fields 8 more games of college experience, which were very valuable to his continued development. He is still a work in progress. Let's be very clear about that. He did not play very much his freshman year at Georgia, started the full season in 2019 for Ohio State, and then only got 8 games out of last year. But those are an important 8 games that took him through a lot of different experiences. A game against Indiana where he admits, I was pressing too much. It was a learning experience. A game against Clemson where he plays on the biggest stage in college football and has his best game, then goes to the national championship game and loses to Alabama. And so there's a lot packed into those 8 games of experience that are beneficial to the Chicago Bears and to Justin Fields as they try to get this next step started.
And what I think you talk about limited his season last year and how valuable those starts were, because otherwise he'd have like 1 season of body of work, obviously elite in that. But what I've learned just in the last couple of days and seen is that this is an athlete, right? I mean, I stumbled upon video on YouTube of him trying out for some baseball prospect pipeline thing. And he's making plays. I mean, he can rake. Like this is a full-blooded athlete, right? Like he is an athlete, he is competitive, and he can do multiple things with ease. I think that is where he's going to help himself make this transition and do it successfully, because he is smart, but he has the ability that the Bears have not seen behind center.
Because you're wearing that Ohio State shirt today, I'm going to give you 2 prospects. One of them, prospect A, is 6'3", 227 pounds, and ran the 40-yard dash in 4.44 seconds at his pro day. The second one, a former Ohio State prospect, 6'3", 235, ran his 40-yard dash in 4.49 at the combine. Do you know who prospects A and B are?
I believe prospect A, I'm just going to throw it out there. Prospect A is Justin Fields.
Correct.
Prospect B is Trevor Lawrence.
Prospect B is Eddie George in 1996. And I tell you this because when you stop and try to soak that in and you say that Justin Fields is basically the same size as Eddie George, Justin Fields basically is as fast as Eddie George. Justin Fields also comes to the stage with arm talent that is, elite. It's elite at the NFL level. You have an athlete here that can beat you in so many different ways. He can beat you from under center. He can beat you in the shotgun. He can beat you on the move. He can beat you from the pocket. He can beat you as a passer. He can beat you as a runner. If Matt Nagy can't figure this out, well, we know who Matt Nagy is as a quarterback overseer. And so this is why they're so excited inside House Hall to be able to have what Ohio State offensive coordinator Kevin Wilson said is just a beautiful block of clay on the turntable. And now it's up to the Bears to get, maybe you get Patrick Swayze in there and you get the ghost and you mold that clay. However,
please
you need to
don't do that. And shame, I'm embarrassed. Shame on me that A, I didn't know that, and 2, I thought Trevor Lawrence was maybe that fast. You should have laughed out loud that was my guess. But
well, I told you your T-shirt.
You did, and my brain was just. Yeah. I was more thinking of where everybody rated Trevor Lawrence heading into this draft, and even when he was coming out of high school. And Justin Fields' numbers coming out of high school were second only to Trevor Lawrence. I mean, This is someone who I think, having had a more smooth college experience with one school and not interrupted by a pandemic, would have possibly been right there at number one, being like, okay, which one are they going to take? I honestly believe that now. I know my loyalties, but I honestly do believe that he has had that ability. So that's what I think Bears fans are seeing too. I just feel like this team feels different now. It feels different. It felt different Friday morning. It just felt different after that one pick. But seriously, do you think Mike Glennon picked up the phone and called Andy Dalton? I'm just curious because deja vu, Dan.
Well, look, when Andy Dalton had his first news conference with us over Zoom after he was signed, and there were multiple questions to him about, Andy, hey, what's going to happen on the last week of April when the Bears, if and when the Bears draft a quarterback? And Andy, we'll see what happens when it happens. And I really want to finish my career as a Chicago Bear. And I kind of laughed out loud during that Zoom call because I said, listen, if you're looking at this through objective eyes, the Bears are going to take a swing at a quarterback in the draft. We knew that all along.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to do one in round one changes it. It's different having, Justin Fields as the guy behind you as opposed to, Davis Mills or Kellen Mond, right? Mm-hmm. And so now Andy's got to get used to this role. What I think was different in this scenario than the Mike Glennon scenario are a couple things. Number one, the Bears were forward with Andy Dalton. They called him the day of the draft. Matt Nagy said, listen, we are monitoring this draft board. There's a chance we draft the quarterback if it breaks correctly. Heads up. Want to give you that, courtesy of telling you that. That did not exist with Mike Glennon, and it created some hard feelings and some tension that didn't need to be there. Secondly, Andy Dalton's a better player than Mike Glennon. And so he, as a bridge quarterback, can build a longer bridge to the future than Mike Glennon was able to, which I've said a number of times was a 4-game bridge, and then it just broke off into the middle of the lake, and it was like, okay, Mitch, it's your turn to go. And so Andy Dalton has to look at this through the eyes that Matt Nagy has looked at it through and said, Alex Smith in 2017 allowed Patrick Mahomes to take a developmental year. And that happened because Alex Smith helped the Chiefs win 10 games and a division championship. I don't expect Andy Dalton to do that with the Bears, but if he can get Justin Fields into November as opposed to, October 3rd or whatever that game will be at the start of October, that's a big deal for the Bears in trying to see through their developmental plan and make sure that Justin Fields is ready for the stage when it's his time to start.
Well, maybe Andy Dalton can win the division if Aaron Rodgers isn't playing for the Packers anymore. I mean, topic for another time, but maybe, that changes the whole landscape of things.
I don't know that it is a topic for another time. I think it is a topic for right now because the more you hear out of Green Bay, the more convinced you are that Aaron Rodgers is not playing another game for the Green Bay Packers. And if the Bears have the luxury of playing in a division that does not include Aaron Rodgers, the nights of sleep, number one, that Matt Nagy's going to get, number two, that Sean Desai is going to get. My goodness, this changes everything. The division opens up. Aaron Rodgers is the reigning league MVP. You take him to the AFC West, go for it, right? The door opens wide. Okay, Jordan Love, it's your show. My goodness, you're right. It does open the door for the idea that the Bears could be a division champion if the Packers are in the disarray that they seem to be in.
Do it, John Gruden. Do it. Get him. Make him happy. Pay him.
Hey, Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio.
Or that. Yeah, no doubt. He would do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, take him out of here. That would be incredible. But I do feel like that moment, it was handled so much better with Andy Dalton. And you're right about that. So much more talent, so much more experience. And he understands that his place in his career, his place with this team, he understood it when he signed like this. And I think that is going to play well in the room. And I don't think that's just lip service. I think they truly mean that they will work well together, and they're excited about it. I love that Justin said one of the first people he met was Andy Dalton, and they're going to work well. I really think they're going to work well together. What does that mean for Nick Foles? I don't know.
It's like Nick is the forgotten man, and I laugh because, again, we have not talked to Nick Foles since 3 or 4 days before he got broken in half in that Vikings game on Monday Night Football, and a lot has happened in his life since the last time we spoke with him on a Zoom call, and so I have no idea what he's thinking, where he's coming from on that. It's been a whirlwind of the last 7 days. The last time we talked, we had set ourselves up for the possibility that the Bears were stuck at number 20, unable to move up the board, not enough quarterbacks would fall, and they would be left taking an offensive tackle. By the way, they got that offensive tackle who I thought they would get at number 20.
Same.
At number 39. And so you go the 1-2 punch of Fields and Tevin Jenkins, you come out of those first 2 nights of the draft and you say, wow, this could not have gone any better for us. Now, listen, I'm the first guy to tell you the draft is the draft. It means nothing. But the Bears did so well with what they could do in that draft that now you have the luxury of taking these two guys and trying to mold them into what you think they can become.
You know, I heard someone, I think it was Peter King, mention that maybe the Packers should look 3 hours south to Nick Foles as another journeyman backup. And not a crazy idea. That's not a crazy notion if things fall the way that they do, which would, again, change the dynamic in the quarterback room. But let's just, to sum it up, Dan, Nagy got his guy.
Yeah.
The Bears fan base got a quarterback that they have desperately wanted, that has everything to be that franchise changer. I'm excited. I think they should be excited. This is more than hope. This is a game changer.
Listen, months of despondency were instantly replaced with hope and spirit and enthusiasm and excitement. And you can't just shoo that away and say it doesn't matter. Look, I'm the first guy that says pump the brakes. Let's keep the hype in its proper lanes. Let's make sure there's guardrails on this highway, and we'll chronicle the Justin Fields development with, you know, clear eyes, right? And not let the buggy get in front of the horse, or whatever the phrase is. But the excitement is real. It's good for business. It's good for your business. It's good for my business. It's good for the Bears business. I said this a couple of times. They didn't waste a lot of time getting those Justin Fields #1 jerseys up on the team shop, right? And I imagine the sales have been through the roof in the last week. And so this is something that comes along with drafting a guy that brings that hope and that talent, and it's justifiable hope and talent. And again, back to what I said at the start, there will be more moments from Justin Fields that take your breath away and you say, whoa, what can this guy ultimately become? Now that's up to the Bears.
Isn't it fun? I just one time humor me, Dan. OH.
Can't do it.
Oh, Dan. It's not going to hurt you. No.
Hi.
Hanging up now. We'll see you guys next time.